are these people?
Network effects. I first heard about this publication 2 years ago with connected to Matt Taibbi and the Twitter files, where Andrew Lowenthal's an Australian. He had handled one portion of it and then broke off to do his own thing to kind of back research the censorship industrial complex more in depth and try to rebuild it from the other side. So what he wrote here has to do with the fact that everybody's going crazy about, NED is being shut down. CIA's, they're talking about cutting people, and their USAID is gone, and what's happening here. And so many claim to have found the censor's secret lair, quote unquote, but it's actually more complicated than that. And I wanted to bring this because it just adds like a level of sensibility to it. So first of all, these are like the hubs and how they kind of interact with each other, but that they're all still kind of separate from each other. They still jockey for position. They still have their own agendas and egos, each one of these organizations, and how they want to be perceived. So what Andrew writes is that over the past 3 weeks, anyone interested in free speech or not has been on the receiving end of a non-consensual fire hose of flood the zone information warfare. Every man and his doge chimed in, capturing via screenshot a score of Osama bin Laden's censorship hideouts. It's USAID, it's NED, it's NIH. USAID in particular has been made responsible for everything from funding chemtrails in Naples to biting your own cheek. And it's a shame the word misinformation is of so little use anymore. USAID is important, but the censorship happens via a system comprising hundreds, possibly thousands of organizations, small and large. Is there a secret bunker? I don't know. It's possible, but the approach is cartoonish. This is why I brought this right here. This line was great. There are key nodes, organizations, and networks that are more important than others, particularly those that hand out the money. In fact, complex was the term that quickly gained favor during the Twitter files precisely because it captured the system's complexity. It's what made it work and what minimized public scrutiny.
Now that is a lie.
It's not a lie. What do you mean? Now that is a lie? Wait, you're muted. I don't hear you.
My muted. God, what is wrong with everything?
Where's the money, Lebowski?
Thank you.
That's what was supposed to play.
Yes, where is the money? Over the past couple of months, that LiberNet, which is Andrew's site, has built a database of almost 1,000 federal government awards from 2016 to 24 that went towards countering quote unquote misinformation and other similar censorship pretexts. Now, this is crazy because he says this work aims to complement the mapping of the censorship industrial complex we did for Matt Taibbi. That work looked partly at government funding, but focused more on the leading censorship organizations and their often public and private support. Not all of the 1,000 grants logged are dubious, but many are. We've been going through each by hand, which is really tedious, reading their project pages, papers, and reports to find out how big a problem they are. Can AI help? Well, yes, to a degree, but from what we've tried, AI can't yet really understand why one grant is horrible and the next one is just a bit meh. Maybe, but it also is being told not to look at that anyway because that's only going to hurt the people that run the AI. All right. The map above is a sketch of where we think the funds have come from to date based on the analysis we've been able to do. I emphasize sketch because out of the almost 1,000 awards, he still has another 300 to 400 to review. But out of the 500 plus that he's looked at, around 200 are highly problematic and another 100 are extremely dubious. That's almost half. Keep in mind that we're only looking at grants that could be considered censorship, so anything that looked at misinformation, hate speech, information integrity, information operations, content moderation, fact-checking, etc. We aren't looking for grants for dubious woke culture war projects that have set the internet aflame the past couple of weeks. To give you an idea, the grants include, here, he minimizes one, NSF money to MEDAN, which is one of Twitter's four go-to organizations for COVID misinformation, to develop AI to spy on encrypted private messaging groups to weed out so-called misinformation. That's bad. Or more NSF money to the University of Illinois to track locations, people, and organizational affiliations of dubious COVID-19 information. That's also bad. Right? Based on whether they question CDC guidance. Once we finalize reviewing the remaining grants, we'll produce a much more accurate map and systemic analysis of how much each agency was funding censorship and who they were paying to do it. This teaser is because I have a bee in my bonnet about the dynamite fishing I'm seeing where a net, if not a rod, would be more useful. All right, the downside of dynamite is that it is indiscriminate. The Free Press reported last week that Chris Rufo was falsely accused of being a USAID shill because a computer program said so. And we talked about that computer program. That was that Republican funding site, that Red Fund or whatever. All right, that people didn't know. We argued people didn't know how to read the site, and they misinterpreted that taxpayer dollars were actually funding his Manhattan Institute, which they weren't, and a USAID shill. All right, and they did the same thing to The Intercept. He said in my previous post, I pointed out other errors being circulated as social media influencers feasted on fresh Doge kills. All right, they wanted to hype out everything, and it totally became partisan, by the way. He says, again, this isn't to say that
for sure.
USAID isn't in large part a massive covert operation. It should be shut down and the actual humanitarian work shifted to an entirely new agency. The humanitarian work, the good stuff. Of course, they're going to shift the covert stuff elsewhere too, but they're not going to tell us. He says, our research shows a lot more censorship grants from State Department not getting shut down, and the National Science Foundation, to say nothing of the Pentagon, which has dropped among a slew of problematic awards up to $1 billion counter disinformation contracts. $1 billion. I think that's actually what he ended up saying in the movie, like after the second one. He said $1 million and everybody laughed at him. He goes, what? Or did he say 100 billion? I don't remember. But to compare that $1 billion grant to a $100,000 grant to an irrelevant woke NGO in Kenya is like putting an ant next to a whale. And I agree. I'd rather get that $100,000 to fund actual independent media that holds people accountable in the United States, but we know they don't want to pay any money to do that. He says, it's a complex. It'll take more than lobbying off a few government branches to get to the root of it, to say nothing of the private foundations supporting censorship and the slack the EU will no doubt pick up, which they already have started to do. All right, so I wanted to bring this one because I didn't really think that anybody else would bring an Andrew Lowenthal article about look, people are overhyping this whole USAID thing. And let me go back to his graphic really quickly.
Yep.
All right. His graphic.
But we got to give credit where credit's due.
Well,
okay.
We don't. But
yeah, I ain't got no fucking credit to give, dog.
But these guys actually did map out where the money is coming from, and that is what ends up driving where the censorship is coming from.
Yes, which getting rid of everything has made that harder now to track and, go back through. And I'm sure it's laundered and whitewashed a whole load of money, especially to like businesses that, I don't know, put things up like Starlink over Ukraine. All those government funds from USAID probably not going to come out. So,
but CDC pushing money to HHS, NIH, and the FDA. That's a ton of money for research and development there. All right, and a lot of COVID censorship came out of this. All right, National Science Foundation, same thing. All right, this is USAID in relation to the size of the Defense Department and CDC, HHS, and then you've got Homeland Security that's also kind of connected to the Defense Department, to DHS, to DOD. DHS, DOD, and State Department are all running regime change spy operations. And look at how little that Veterans Affairs thing is. But they're also trying to control the veterans narrative through the VA. All right. So who else is going to break down the censorship industrial complex funding like that for you? No, not too many people. I would like to make an appeal to everyone. If you are able and are of means, please support the media you want to see. These people already have. Thank you so much to everybody who has supported and tipped us and hooked us up. This week, I remember clearly Charlie Mack on Friday night, as well as Sean, definitely hooked us up. We got some PayPals on. Ooh, I get an echo on Wednesday night from INA News. So thank you to everyone. Natalie Brunel, I know she gave, I believe she gave $20 over on Cash App. So cash.app/$Indie News Network, co-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, and INAnewsletter.com are the ways to support it that are the least way to have fees go and the most money to actually put into our pockets. YouTube doesn't like it when we do that. Please, if you can, support the channels, tip us, hook us up with a couple of bucks. Reef needs some weed money. I just got a mic stand. It's so crazy. I've been doing this so long, and my mic has always sat on my desk. And finally, I broke down and I said, "All right, I'm gonna get one of those like kind of arms that clamps to the side of the desk and free up the space." I wouldn't say that, but it's not a terribly expensive product, and it's really funny that the
money is there.
It is, and that's what's funny, because that's why you guys hook us up with that so that we can do things like that, and thank you for that. Because yes, we need to purchase equipment and to cover our costs for the year. That's what we're trying to do, is cover our costs of streaming and of producing all the thumbnails and all the creative graphics. If you are able to at a means, please tip your streamers, hook up INN, help us cover our expenses for the year, and do some really cool stuff. We want to send Jett to Third Eye Carnival in April. We're going to see if we can make that happen, or they may schedule another Third Eye Carnival later on in the year closer to him, an event that he can more easily attend. Third Eye Carnival is a weekend camping trip hangout where there are podcasters, musicians, comedians all come together to discuss what's really happening out there, and then solutions on how do we move forward together to opt out of the system and do some cool stuff, outside of the Zionist control. So we get censored for stuff like this. We got demonetized for stuff like this. So please, if you are able to, hook us up somewhere else other than on YouTube. The ways to do that are Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, and at INNnewsletter.com. You can do so with a one-time, monthly, or even an annual support over at INN Newsletter. Everybody on that board already has, and we love them deeply for it. Thank you so much, really, for all of the support that we get. We cannot do this without you. We are solely user-funded. We do not have promo codes. We do not do ad reads. We do not do sponsorships. We are here because we feel like that is potentially compromising. If you are, hesitant to criticize somebody that an advertiser might like, or criticize an advertiser directly, or criticize, there's just a lot of potential conflicts of interest that can be brought up by doing the sponsorship thing, which is why we feel like, to have the ultimate integrity, you need to be doing this solely user-funded. Otherwise, you're going to, at some point, have somebody turn to you and tell you they don't like the way that you're covering something and insist that you not cover something or whatever it is. And we've seen that repeatedly. We've seen people have blind spots because there are people that they like that have big gaps and big inconsistencies and big conflicts of interest, and just kind of look the other way and not discuss it, let other people discuss it, and not necessarily defend it, but also not go hard on things that we know that they would ordinarily go hard on. And I don't want to see that happen here. So that's why we need you to help keep us honest, so that we can help keep everybody else honest. Because we say fuck the CIA, we get demonetized on YouTube. And these amazing people have already helped out our channel. They have tipped their streamers and supported the media they want to see. And we love them and appreciate them for it. That's why they're on our Wall of Fame. You can join them by supporting at Cash App, $ Indie News Network, kodashfee.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, and at innnewsletter.com, where you can subscribe monthly or on an annual basis.
Support independent media, like he said.
Yeah, how about that? We need
Right?
more
You
than
said
ever.
that already, right?
Labels are bad. Stay independent.
No one knows what they're doing. Everything is getting worse. Some people deserve to die. Your money is worthless. No one is properly dressed. At least one of your children will disappoint you. The system is rigged. Your house will never be completely clean. All teachers are incompetent. There are people who really dislike you. Nothing is as good as it seems. Things don't last. No one is paying attention. The country is dying. God doesn't care. Shh.
Support independent media, everyone.
We just fucking lost the stream.
Can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead? And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, I play civil when all these dead won't make you listen. What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me.